You're watching Aurora 8, nationally recognized for excellence in government programming.
And welcome to Dateline Aurora. Dr. Linda Bowman became the president of the Community College Aurora back in Y2K, year 2000. Under her leadership, the college has improved its enrollment numbers and its financial strength. The college has increased outreach to area school districts and to minority residents. Now Dr. Bowman is moving on to new challenges, but first she's going to make a stop with us right here next on Dateline Aurora. Greetings and welcome to Dateline Aurora. I'm Adam Dempsey. Dr. Linda Bowman holds multiple degrees, including a PhD in public administration. She's also the Vice President of Executive Leadership Training and Development for the Community College, for the Colorado Community College System. And she is a Fulbright specialist who will soon be sharing her knowledge and expertise with educators and administrators in China. And I can't go. Dr. Linda Bowman, welcome to our program.
Thank you.
China, that's got to be great.
It is great. I'm really excited. We actually leave very soon for Hong Kong.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a bit. You are an educator and you're also a lifelong learner. Where did your passion and your love for education, where did it come from?
Well, I can't remember not loving education. I loved school. I was always a good student, a good girl. My parents, I think, really are the ones who instilled that in me. My father went to college after World War II on the GI Bill, and I really believe he stood over my cradle and said, "You will go to college."
Yeah. When you were young in school, that means you did everything you're supposed to do. You really enjoyed it. What was your favorite subject in school?
Well, I always loved English. I've always loved reading, and I did become an English major, as a matter of fact. And I have to say, when some other kids were outside playing, doing things, I would be inside and reading the book. Pretty boring, huh?
What was your favorite book then, though? I bet it was something fun.
Well, actually, my very favorite of all time, not when I was a child, but as I grew older, is To Kill a Mockingbird.
To Kill a Mockingbird. Is it important that parents really clue in when the youngster has a favorite book or something, because that can facilitate reading for them later and make them stronger?
Absolutely, and I don't think there's anything more important than instilling that love of reading, making sure that your children have access to books. It's something that we talk about with our students who are parents as well. It's just, there's nothing better.
Now, have you always worked at the college level, or were you one of those first year instructors in K-12?
Well, I've done a little of everything. I actually started out in retailing. When I was in college, I was working retailing as a sales girl, and then when I graduated, I did not have a teaching certificate. My father was horrified, I might add. And so I stayed on and became a department manager and a buyer in a department store for a few years.
Wait a minute, really? What store?
It was Gaffer's, which was part of the old Mercantile Stores chain in Mobile, Alabama.
Well, I was in retail once upon a time too, so that's I couldn't resist the question.
But I did after that. Then I went back to graduate school, which I always wanted to do. And then I taught in a private K-12 school in New Orleans.
Really?
And I taught 5th, 7th, 9th, and 11th graders English.
Ooh, 5th, 7th, 11th. You had them when all the hormones were flowing.
Oh boy.
And trying to keep them focused.
Absolutely. They taught me a thing or two.
What brought you to Lamar Community College?
Well, there were a few places that I went in between. After my stint in K-12 in New Orleans, then I went to work in private schools and proprietary education, moved up through the ranks, became a president actually here of Parks College in Denver. And then decided that my desire was community colleges. So I went back to school again. There's a theme here. I already had a master's in English at that time, went back in public administration for a master's and PhD, and went to work at Red Rocks Community College. And I was there for 8 years, started as a adjunct teacher.
Yeah.
And then went up through the ranks to vice president, and then went to Lamar in 1999 as interim president.
You said that you found you had a passion for community colleges, and most educators at the college level, they want a full 4-year. Why community college versus a 4-year?
Well, I'll tell you, I always give people a warning when they apply for jobs with us that watch out, because once you get a taste of community college, you'll never go anywhere else. Because in community colleges, we have students who won't be successful without us. We really make a difference. And at CCA now, over half of our students are first generation, which means no one in the family has gone to college before. So their lives change, and their families' lives for generations will never be the same because of the experience.
Are students at a community college a little closer with their professors than at a 4-year school like CU, where a professor may walk out in a history class and have 200 students and 2 TAs?
Yeah, big class, really big class for us is 30.
Yeah.
You know, our average class size is about 18, and so there is that kind of connection that's just so different. And we don't have TAs. It's all professors who are in those classes, and so it makes a big difference.
When the opportunity at the Community College of Aurora opened in Y2K, is it something you jumped at, or something you said, I'd like it, but wait a minute, let me think about this?
I didn't have to think about it. I knew that this was where I wanted to be. I had been watching Community College of Aurora for a long time, and in fact, when I was at Parks, I had the privilege of opening a campus here in Aurora, so I had some familiarity, had done some research on the community, and so when this became a possibility, it was a very easy answer.
I mean, you watched it grow, and you thought at that particular time it was ready to make its next leap. You were ready to make yours, and so the connection, the merger was a good one then. It had to be an exciting time.
It was. I mean, you feel an affinity. You know, one of the things I love is to travel the world, and I knew that here in Aurora there was not only diversity but growing diversity and growing complexity of that diversity. So it was just all the right ingredients for me.
Could you reflect back? They wrote in my notes, can you remember back? You can remember. Reflect back
Maybe. I hope.
Reflect back, what goals did you have then when they called you and said, Dr. Bowman, you have the job? What did you want to accomplish then?
Well, I wanted, first of all, to help the college grow. There had been a lot of growth, but then there was a little bit of stagnation also at that time. I wanted to be sure that we got a handle on our budgets. It was a tough time in the state. We've had a number of tough times in the state since then as well, but to be sure that people would have the resources they need to do the job.
Yeah.
And then I knew that the college's representation for people of color did not reflect the community, and I was very concerned that that was a place where we needed to focus.
Of those 3 things, is anything still left undone?
It's always left undone. It's always continuing. There will always be challenges when it comes to the budgets, and so we're in great shape. We're very, very financially sound, but that requires work all of the time.
Yeah.
When it comes to our ability to bring in students of color, we have done a great job among many populations, but Latinos still are underrepresented, not only at CCA, but also in colleges and universities across the country, and males actually are very underrepresented, and so that's something that we've got to do a lot of work on that. And then enrollment has grown dramatically, and we want to be sure that we continue that, because the fact is this community is growing, the needs are growing, and you can never rest.
It seems like, I think I was reading that the level of African Americans has increased, but as you just said, the level of Latino Americans have not. Is there a difference in message which has to be communicated there to show them the value of college and higher ed?
Well, both have increased dramatically, but we actually, as a percentage, have more African Americans in CCA than we have in our community, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
When it comes to Latinos, we've more than doubled the percentage, but we still aren't keeping up with the kind of growth that's in our community. And I think part of that is the recent immigrant status for some people. I think another part is the messaging and some of the work that we're doing right now in partnership with the high schools. I really believe we're onto something and that we will tackle that, because high school students, many high school students now, over 1,000 in Aurora Public Schools, are coming to college while still in high school. So there won't be any more whether or not I should go to college, I'm already in college.
You're already there. Is that one of the new transitional changes we're seeing now with higher ed, a better connection with high school?
It's huge, and yes, it absolutely is. I actually had the opportunity just 2 or 3 years ago to work at the state level on new legislation that gave us more opportunities to reach into the high schools. And then the leadership at Aurora Public Schools and at Cherry Creek School District, they really want these partnerships as well. So we are the largest concurrent high school enrollment in the state of Colorado right here at CCA.
Wow, that's tremendous. So that I don't fumble through all of my notes here, there's a learning philosophy or learning style that you have initiated at CCA. Could you describe it for us and give me the acronym so I don't have to find it on page 5?
I will. It's Go Beyond the Book.
Okay.
And it's actually our tagline that we have for the college. We use a lot of simulation. We want students not to simply read the book, but we want them to experience their education. And we know that people learn better when they are hands-on and when they experience it. So whether we're talking about our emergency medical services program, where we have simulation studios where paramedics and EMTs in training and police officers in training and firefighters in training are all coming, and actually we have the high fidelity mannequins. Whether we're in the business department where our accounting students prepare taxes for citizens free in order to learn how to do that and to have the practical experience and help the community, all of it is about that philosophy of going beyond just reading about things but living them.
Is that what is that the thing that underscores the value of maybe community college more, is that you have the balance between academics and practical application?
I think that's a really key part of it.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that's so important in community college is that we aren't saying, if you're good enough, you come to us. We're saying we're open to you to come to community colleges. We'll help you find your place and help you be your best. And so that access mission is something that speaks to community college educators.
I guess in one of the legacy things, you're the first woman to lead a community college here.
CCA, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm only the 3rd president, actually.
You're the 3rd.
Right. Yeah.
That's got to inspire some young ladies there to say, you know, I can get there too.
It's interesting that you should say that, because I've actually never thought as much about that myself, but I have had those experiences with students. And I remember one in particular. One day I was standing out front of the administration building on the Center Tech campus, and a young woman, an African-American woman, came up to me and she said, "You're our president, aren't you?" And I said, "I am." And she said, "You just don't know how much it means to me to have you as our president. That we have a female president shows me I can do it." And I said, "You absolutely can." So you never know. People are always watching, and you're never quite sure what impact you're having.
And especially students.
Especially students. But you know, faculty and staff also. It's I had an incident right after 9/11, in fact, where one of our staff members, a female, came to me, and it was a very difficult time at the college, as you might imagine, with the diversity. And we had had some other tragedies that occurred, and I was struggling myself, absolutely. And she came up to me in the ladies' room and said, "It means so much to us that you're so strong." And it was just another one of those reminders that people are always watching.
Yes. I remember I had a State of the Union address. President Bush said, encourage kids to go to community college. And I think President Obama is encouraging kids to go to college. So it must have been really stimulating to hear President Bush say, go to community, you know, and now President Obama is trying to put more money there too. What are the challenges that remain to get kids into school and get them involved so they can take the next step?
And President Obama really has focused on community colleges as well, by the way. And Dr. Jill Biden, the Vice President's wife, is a community college professor. And we've hosted her, in fact, at our simulation studios out at Lowry. But the challenges still remain to compete with the quick job and quick dollar and the bills that need to be paid. And you know, community college students are all ages. So while we're reaching into the high schools and have more of the younger students now, the fact is our average age is still 28. And people come from all walks of life, who've had great educational experiences and not so great educational experiences, and often they don't realize that they can afford it, that we can help them make it affordable.
Lifelong learning, if someone wants to really find out what that's about in an affordable way, community college is the way to go.
Absolutely, because you don't have those barriers. You don't have to have a particular score or index score to get in. Now, you can't enter just any program or any course based upon what your ability and capabilities are to start with. But if you want to do that kind of career exploration, it's a great bargain, and you can get the kind of quality and personal attention that matters.
During your tenure, what is the thing that you're most proudest of, that I got this done?
Boy, you know, there have been a lot of things, and just the faculty and staff at CCA are unbelievable. I'd put them up against anybody, anywhere. And so, but I'm really proud of what we've done at the Lowry campus, because we've been able at Lowry to take the old Air Force base, the gift from the Air Force to the U.S. Department of Education to the state of Colorado, and then build programs out there that are unlike programs anywhere. So our going beyond the book, our building the simulation studios, our film school, our School of Business, our science departments out there, our nursing partnership that we have with the University of Colorado for students to go directly from us at CCA into CU to become bachelor's prepared nurses. I mean, all of those are great objects of pride. So as you can tell, I have a long list.
Yeah.
But I think you asked for one, I can't do it.
Oh, but that's quite all right. I love the idea, the concept of the nursing there, because of the growth that we've had at Fitz in biotech. So they not only have a place to be educated in it, but a place to go work when they're done. And to make the connection for the next leap there. You indicated that you had watched CCA when you were at Parks. Then you came in and you had your goals, and you've grown it to the next level. Where would you like to see it go now that you're moving on and somebody else will be there? What improvements still remain to be done?
There's so much to be done. As I said, I mean, it's a complex organization in this complex world, and I think that we have taken what was a wonderful foundation and built upon that, and now someone can continue on. The Lowry campus, we've only begun. There's so much work to be done there. The assuring student learning outcomes, there's much more work to be done there to increase the graduation rates, to retain more students. And graduation rates are a funny thing in community colleges, because part of our work is to have students who come to us and dabble to see exactly what they want to do. And sometimes the best job we've done is to help them go someplace else. But there's still a lot of work to be done. I mean, Aurora is such an incredible community, and making sure that we prepare the workforce for this community. We are this community's college. This community founded us, and if we don't reach the goals of achieving economic prosperity for our citizens, nobody else is going to step in and do that.
That is the importance of the community college to Aurora, is that you train that workforce. And even in this type of economy now, where so many boomers have been laid off and they need to retrain themselves, the community college is a place to go to get that done as well.
That's right, and we've certainly seen a huge influx of people in just that situation. So, for instance, we realize if you lose your job, and that's in September, we can't say, well, we'll see you in January when the next semester starts. So our computer department rose to the challenge, so that classes for the people start every Monday in the computer classes, so that people can get those skills at their own pace and be ready to get back into the workforce.
Okay, you mentioned at the top of the program you were going to China.
Yes.
What are you going to be doing there?
I'm actually going to work on higher education policy. So I'll be in Hong Kong. I'm hosted by the Chinese University of Hong Kong, and I'll be working with their universities, 8 universities, and then 14 community colleges, most of whom are actually private. So my private background is helpful there. On articulation of credits so that students can transfer from the 2-year to the 4-year sector, which they can't do right now.
Now, is this a part of the Fulbright program?
It is.
So are you a Fulbright scholar, or a Fulbright educator, or a Fulbright instructor?
It's actually called a Fulbright specialist.
Okay.
And so unlike the scholar exchange where you may have a student or a faculty member who is on an exchange program, this is more like, I hate to say it, more of a senior position where you come in as a consultant to work with another country.
Now, is Fulbright through the State Department? How does it develop?
It is through the State Department, and so you apply. A friend of mine actually had done a similar assignment, and so you apply. If you're accepted, then you're rostered for 5 years, and you can go on 2 assignments total at the maximum, and you list what would be your preferred countries to work in, but doesn't mean that someone else can't request your services. And so I listed Hong Kong. I also listed Cambodia and India.
Okay.
The Hong Kong government requested my services, and so I go there as their guest.
Now, do you have to be an educator to participate in the Fulbright program that you know about?
There are different areas of expertise where you can be rostered, and then they have your biography on the website, and the other country looks to see.
And the reason
so it could be in other areas. So yes, you certainly should.
Well, I bring that up because people who are non-educators,
yes,
who may be achievers like you, that's another step level in their career development that they may not have known is there.
They absolutely can do that, and so you can just Google Fulbright specialist and find the website. But it's pretty remarkable, and I think not only will I hopefully be able to add value for them, but I know I will learn a lot there too.
How long will you be there?
6 weeks.
So you'll have plenty of pictures?
Oh, I'll have lots of pictures, you bet.
And your husband is going with you?
He is. I'm so glad.
Are you going to make him cook and clean while you're working, or what?
We'll be in a hotel, so I think he'll just have to choose the restaurant.
Oh, man, that is so cool. That is so nice. So when you get back from China,
yes,
you're going to take some time off during the summer, and then you've accepted a position with the University of Denver, I understand.
I have accepted the position at University of Denver, a faculty position in the Morgridge College of Education in their higher education program.
Okay.
And what I'll be doing there is working with educators who are in master's and doctoral programs, and hopefully really cultivating a greater number of folks who want to go into working into the community colleges. But I'm not actually taking the whole summer off. I'll be working part-time with the community college system, continuing the work I do now, working with the presidents, the vice presidents, and deans on executive leadership development.
But going to DU gets you back in the classroom again.
It does.
Because in the essence of an educator is that face-to-face contact, or, well, it's online now, but the direct contact with students.
Yes, it does take me back to the classroom. I'll be doing program development as well, and it's still all about community colleges and community college students.
What would you say to a high schooler now who may be watching this program about the value of being a lifelong learner?
I guess what I would say is the old adage, you know, find something you love and you'll never work a day in your life. What you want are choices, and to have the best choices, what you do is you prepare yourself to take advantage of any opportunity that comes along. And the one thing that no one can ever take away from you is your education, so you invest in yourself.
And at the same time, they don't have to worry about being a lifelong learner and taking calculus or something. I think you said the key was follow the interest you have.
Yep.
And when you do that, you want to learn more about it. You want to be better with it, and that's the key to being a lifelong learner then, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, there's a book coming out somewhere. I can see it now.
I do hope to do some writing, and in fact, part of this assignment in Hong Kong will be to do some writing, so that's a good thing.
The other piece of advice to adults who may be reluctant to go back to school again. I know I've had some friends that say, why should I go back to school? They've got teenagers, 19-year-olds there. I'm going to be the oldest guy in the classroom. I can't do that again. What would you say to them? Because I think early on you said that you have a nice spectrum of ages in the classroom at CCA.
We have a very broad spectrum, and I've heard this so many times from people who say, oh, I'm too old or whatever, and then they go back and they realize, wow, I'm not even the oldest one. And one of my favorite students, I always say I don't have favorites, but he is my favorite, Graham Witherspoon, and many viewers will know who Graham is. Graham takes art classes at CCA, has been doing so for a long time, does beautiful work, and he's 91.
91. Great story. It's dovetailing with that. Educators always have a humorous experience or story that they will always remember. You probably have a couple of those from CCA. Could you share one with us as a close?
Well, I usually remember the poignant ones even more than the humorous ones, but certainly there have been many humorous ones. And I would say that one you might appreciate was I was speaking at a conference in Chicago, and my husband was with me, and as I went to go to the booth where the folks who were actually speakers would check in, they of course immediately turned to my husband and asked for his name so they could check him in. So.
You said poignant ones too, so since you said that, I'm going to leap right on it.
Good.
Give us one of those as well.
Well, late this past fall, it was one of our snowy days that we had, and when I arrived in the parking lot, I saw that there was a gentleman walking down the sidewalk with a white cane with a red tip, and I hurried to catch up with him, and came up beside him and asked if I could walk with him, explained who I am, and as we talked, and I warned him I had on heels so I might pull him down on the ice, but as we talked, he told me that his home of origin is the Sudan, that he'd been in Aurora for a year and a half, that he had escaped from his country and gone to, I believe it was Kenya, and was in a relocation camp for 17 years before he came here to Aurora. And he raved about CCA and the help he's had and the people that he's worked with and his faculty members and the fellow students. And I knew exactly why we do this work.
Yeah. I wanted to leave it on a wonderful point like that, but when you indicated that he was had come to America from someplace else, the thing that jumped in my mind was when we talked to the superintendent of Aurora Public Schools, he indicated how many languages that they speak in that school district. How many of those cross over in the CCA that has to be contended with there?
Most of them, and one of the things we didn't have much of when I came in 2000 was a huge, very large English as a second language program, and now we have 1,500 people learning English or taking citizenship classes from all those wonderful countries with languages that I have to say I didn't always know existed.
Yeah, that's another value of the school there. Dr. Bowman, it has been a treat to know you all these years, the election nights and everything, and so it was just fun when they said, oh, get to talk to you for a Dateline Aurora. Yes, we love it. So.
I'm thrilled, I'm honored. Thank you, Adam, and I appreciate our partnership, and I have a theory that our paths will cross again.
I hope so. Much continued success, and we're looking forward to those pictures when you get back from China.
That's a deal.
All right, that's all the time we have for this edition of Dateline Aurora. We do thank you for watching us, and make a note to join us here again next month. Good night.